So now we're going to talk about our exterior angles. An exterior angle is the angle formed by a side and an extension of an adjacent side. So when you're looking at the images down here, our angle 1s are all exterior angles. It also makes sense they're outside of the angle. Of the triangle. And our remote interior angles are the two non-adjacent interior angles. So this blue shaded angle would be our adjacent angle. The angles 2 and 3 in each of these would be our remote interior angles. Our exterior angle theorem is the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle equals the sum of the measure of its two remote interior angles. And so let's talk about why that is. So if we remember, our interior angle theorem states that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180 degrees. Now when we look at our picture here, we notice that our adjacent angles, angle 3 and 4, are a linear pair because remember, a linear pair are two adjacent angles that form a line. And so that means, being that they are a linear pair, angle 3 plus angle 4 would also equal 180 degrees. And so what I can do, since these both equal 180 degrees, that means that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 will be equal to the measure of angle 3 plus, plus the measure of angle 4. And then if I subtract the measure of angle 3 from both sides, we are left with the fact that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to our measure of angle 4. So angle 1 and angle 2 are our remote interior angles. They are not adjacent to our angle 4. And our measure of angle 4 is our exterior angle. So the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. And that's how they figured it out when they figured out the theorem. So find the missing angle measure in each diagram. And again, this can be hard to see, so I'm going to put X's where our angles are, because I know that when it was copied, the circles didn't show up perfectly. So when we're working here with the measure of angle 1, it's an exterior angle, so I know that my measure of angle 1 is going to be equal to, I have a square, which means that this is 90 degrees, so 90 plus 34. And so then I'm going to take 90 plus 34, and I'm going to get 124 degrees. So our measure of angle 1 equals 124 degrees. And again, that's just taking the two remote interior angles, the ones that are not next to our exterior angle, and adding them together. So now to find our measure of angle 2, so that one goes with this triangle, I know that measure of angle 2 is one of my remote interiors. So I would have 43 plus our measure of angle 2 equals the 71 degrees. And so to get my measure of angle 2, I would have to subtract 43 from both sides. And so 71 minus 43, subtract 43 from both sides. Measure of angle 2 will leave us with will be 28 degrees. So, answer to the first, answer to the second. So again, I'm just setting up that same interior angle plus interior angle equals that exterior angle. So here, our angle 3, we're going to have the measure of angle 3, which is our exterior, has to be equal to 53 plus 61. And so the measure of angle 3 will have to equal 114 degrees. When we look at angle 4, again, it's an interior angle, a non-adjacent interior angle, so we know that the measure of angle 4 plus 73 degrees will equal, we've got the square, which means we're equal to 90. And so then when I take 90 minus 73, so I'm going to subtract 73 from both sides in order to get my measure of angle 4. I end up with 17 degrees. So, remote interiors add together, they equal the exterior angle. And if we're looking for the interior angle, then our exterior angle minus the other interior angle will give us our missing interior angle. Alright, so example 5. Given the measure of angle 1 equals 26 degrees, and I'm going to write this onto our triangle, and the measure of angle 2 is 3x minus 2 degrees, and the measure of angle 3 is, oops, I had 3 on the brain, is 5x minus 8 degrees. We want to find the measure of angle 3. So the first thing we need to find is x. So we know that our two remote interior, the 26, or angle 1 and angle 2, have to add together. So 26 plus 3x minus 2 will have to equal our exterior, which is our angle 3, our 5x minus 8. So then we'll combine like terms. So we end up with 3x plus 24 equals 5x minus 8. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides so that we have 24 equals 2x minus 8. Add 8. So we end up with 32 equals 2x. Divide by 2, and so then we know that x is 16. So now that we want the measure of angle 3, I only need to worry about what measure of angle 3 equals, which is our 5x minus 8, and then we'll replace x with 16. So 5 times 16 minus 8. 5 times 16 is 80, so we end up with 80 minus 8. So the measure of angle 3 equals 72 degrees. So we use the exterior angles theorem to set up our equation. Angle 1 plus angle 2 had to equal our angle 3, so we set up the algebra for that, solved for x, and then plugged our x value in to find the measure of angle 3. The thing about geometry is a lot of times, especially when we start adding in the algebra portion to it, we think algebraically we are done when we find x. You need to read your directions and make sure you are finding what you are asked to find. And that is it for our notes today.